to accept our relationship, and then had finally totally embraced it. My old mother would be devastated. I felt edgy just thinking about it. "Do you want a Jaffa with your coffee?" she asked me. As if a Jaffa could be the answer to all my troubles, as if a Jaffa could truly console. "Yes, please," I said. I'd got into the habit of saying yes to as many things as possible, thinking that if I said yes enough, she might stop saying no. She put 3 Jaffas on my plate, but I noticed she took none for herself. "Aren't you having any?" I asked her, a bit alarmed. "No," she said. "Why not?" I said. "Oh, for goodness sake, Ruth, stop trying to control me. After a while, all relationships turn into power struggles," she said. "Would you ask that same question to a friend?" "I'm just wondering why you put 3 on a plate for me if you're not having any yourself," I said suspiciously. I was becoming very suspicious of her, because she'd started to change all of her habits, and it was very worrying to me. "Do you know something?" she said, very nastily. "I think you're going mad." "Does Martin Amis say that?" I said furiously. "Does he say one person in a couple during a breakup will always accuse the other of going mad?" She sighed and shook her head. She was actually looking quite beautiful these days. The person I didn't want to hear about was clearly making her feel good about herself. "I'm just trying to have a cup of coffee with you, that's all. If I can't have a cup of coffee with you without fighting, we will have to put the house on the market even sooner than we said. As Martin Amis says, you go when you can no longer stay," she said, standing up in the kitchen and drinking her coffee. She wouldn't sit down these days. There it was again, that bloody awful quote. It was deliberate then. She knew it was agitating me. She'd started to repeat it, at random, in whatever corner of our house we found ourselves in. I could even hear it in my sleep. She left the room, coffee in hand, and I heard her playing music up the stairs. She'd taken to playing music a lot recently, another big change for her. This was a thin voice I didn't much like, one of those new English jazz singers with a very insipid style. I preferred the Dinah Washingtons of this world. I got up from the table and put 2 of the Jaffa cakes in the bin. I gave the 3rd to our dog. I saw what she was up to. She was trying to fatten me up as she lost weight. Well, we were both a little on the generous side. I was about 3 stone overweight, and Hilary was at least 2. Whenever we went out to a big lesbian do, I noticed that we weren't the only long-term couple that was overweight. I used to think that was happiness, being fat together, rolling about from one side of the big double bed to the other. Most of our old relationship revolved around food. Our idea of a super day used to be a day when we were both off work. Now I notice her days off don't coincide with mine anymore. Hilary didn't have to go into the council, which was depressing her, and I didn't have to go into the tax office, which was depressing me. We'd get into our big bed with lots of treats, a couple of chow mein pot noodles, a big plate of chocolate biscuits, a big pot of cookies and cream Häagen-Dazs. Bliss. And we'd watch the Maltese Falcon for the umpteenth time, or Now Voyager, or All About Eve. Heaven. A day like that was even nicer if it was raining outside. At the end of Now Voyager, we'd both say that line together. "Oh, Jerry, don't let's ask for the moon. We have the stars." And clutch at each other as if we were frightened of losing everything. A lot of the people who know us often get us mixed up, as though we were identical twins. Some people call me Hilary, and Hilary Ruth. It's a bit silly, because we don't really look all that alike. Admittedly, we do both buy similar-looking clothes in Marks and Spencer. Our casual clothes days and smart clothes days are always the same. But recently,